Hello, welcome to a video that is not really meant to brag, so I hope no one takes it that way. And I thank my best friend Dave, one of 3 nights, for allowing me to do this video and saying it's okay to do, quote, a little bit of bragging. So today is Sunday, had yesterday off, and we've been looking for Pursuit of Cobra Wave 3, like many of you I'm sure. And just recently I was able to find it. I think they first started hitting around here on Christmas Eve, and I went by and I found some stuff on Christmas Eve, but of course the one figure that we didn't find was the Shock Trooper, which is a very popular army builder right now for this wave. So I found all the other ones, and I'm gonna do kind of a update vlog haul video for that. But for this one I just wanted to say that yes, I finally, and we'll have to go to off camera so for this too, but I finally found a Shock Trooper. We had gone to 3 different targets yesterday, and when we went to the 4th one, I think it might have been our last stop. I don't know if anyone's been able to find any of these at Walmart, because some people are talking about how their Walmarts either just don't carry G.I. Joes or supposedly are even discounting them to get rid of them. So, you know, as long as thankfully Target has these, I guess that's cool. Last year it seemed to be Toys R Us was getting all this stuff first, and now it seems to be Target. And if I can get the photograph to go part of this video, then I'll do it, or otherwise I might change my channel picture to what the photograph is that I'm talking about, if I'm able to do that. So when we were looking, it would have been Walmart our last chance, but thankfully the 4th Target we went to, I went around the corner, but I guess before I talk about that, went to all the other Targets, and it's very nice. You know, if you have multiple Targets, or you're thankfully able to have a great husband or wife that is willing to go G.I. Joe hunting for you. And I always joke about that for people that don't collect G.I. Joe, it kinda, if you can relate it to, no offense to the women that might be watching this, but it's kinda like that joke about when a man has to go hold the purse while the woman's shoe shopping or whatever. That's kind of what I joke, that somebody that doesn't collect G.I. Joe or doesn't really understand everything about it, that's kind of what I relate it to. It's kind of like going shopping with a woman shopping for shoes. So no offense by that. If there's a male equivalent of that, please do leave a comment as that. So we were going to all these Toys R Us's, and one of the things I was trying to keep the spirits up about was that each store that you go to seems to be different. So one of the Targets just had the regular G.I. Joe section. Then we went to another Target, and I started noticing that on some Targets they're starting to put G.I. Joes on the end cap, so that's really nice. I've not seen that before. Usually that location is for Transformers. So then we noticed that, of course, all that was there was Duke, that I thought was kind of different, because usually if anything's going to be left, most people expect for the Storm Shower to be left. So there was only one Duke. Then I believe we went to a next store, and it was the same thing. They had something on the end cap, but all they had was Duke and Storm Shadow. Then I think it was the same thing at the 3rd one, so we're starting to get discouraged on the way back home. And we stop at this other Target, and I'm going around the corner, and I see, you know, that thankfully they do have some Joes, and they didn't have, I believe, any of Wave 3 on the pegs. The only one that they had on the pegs was one of these guys. And, you know, I'm happy. I mean, I should be glad that I have at least one, but again, you kind of want one at least to open and one to keep closed. And I never used to do that, but then family members and everything were saying that you gotta have something that you can keep on card so you can sell it later. Even though that's not the plan, if that ever happens, it would be nice to have it. And then also when I do videos, I try my best to have at least a closed one somewhat in the background, so that there's that, you know, not just dead space, there's something to look at as I'm talking about the figure, or maybe something else that doesn't have to do with the figure. So that's another reason, I guess, to have one that's meant on card. So gotta at least have 2. And then the other thing is you want to make sure you have the best paint application, because not sure if this video will go up at the same time, but I just did a new intro to one where I'm talking about basically trying to find the best Pursuit of Cobra commander that I could. So then we were about to leave, but thankfully, because I thought about all the other targets that have been putting things on the end cap, I went around the corner. And I feel kind of guilty about doing this, but at least by doing it, I don't have to go, looking anymore. I don't have to take up any more time until, some better wave possibly that comes out for Renegades. Because I do want to get wave 4, but I don't really need to go searching, because I don't think I'm going to army build any figure from that wave. Shadow Tracker is a unique character, but I don't think I'm going to need to buy multiples of him, just 2, the quote no more 2. So I was about to leave, but then we went around the corner like I was saying, and there was the display. The first time that there was this display, which I'm talking about with the picture that I hope to post as part of this or on my channel. And at first when people were talking about a shipper box, I was really hoping that it was kind of like if you go to some of the targets and they have that big section that was all Transformers. I think right now they're just pushing some type of board game or something in those areas now, but that's what I was expecting when I first saw the first post on one of the forums talking about one of the sightings found in my state of Washington. So I was really excited because somebody said that they even got a member of Target to bring out the shipper, even though of course I'm sure some of you know about how we're not supposed to ask for that to happen, but maybe there weren't any Joes on the peg, so it's okay for him to have asked that to get done. So I was expecting something as big as that in my head. I was thinking, wow, are they really pushing G.I. Joe as well as they're pushing Transformers? Somebody at Hasbro is, doing a great job, because not only with the movies and everything else that they're doing, but just feels like a great time to be a G.I. Joe collector. So that's what I was envisioning, but then of course as you see the picture, unless you've already gone to your own Targets and you've seen the shipper, it's still nice to see it, but if I'm not mistaken, the figure that they put on the shipper is Wave 2 Snake Eyes. So I guess they must think that Snake Eyes Wave 2 is the best figure, or I'd like to know why they decided to do Snake Eyes. So maybe you have your own reasons or ideas of why they decided to do that Snake Eyes. So then we'll go off camera, and I hope I've said everything, but we'll go off camera and we'll show you just how lucky I got and how I feel a little bit nervous about taking that many, but to go from having nothing and to been looking for like 2-3 weeks that it's been to finally be done is really nice. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll do my best to not talk about too much of the stuff that I'll talk about when I actually get to Wave 3. I'm still working on Wave 1 for my videos. But one of the things I did want to say is when I first found this figure online and it was being talked about being released and everything, it was this kind of riot shield thing that really drawed me to this figure, plus all the other connections and thoughts that started running through my head. But another thing I was worried about is it looked like the neck was going to be too thin and skinny, but so far right now with it on with the gas mask and everything, it doesn't look that bad. It actually, I think, looks a lot better in person. So if you have not seen these in person yet, you might want to see them in person before you make a decision whether or not you're going to collect them or not. I never used to army build before, and I only used to even buy one figure, but then I started buying 2, like I said, because people started mentioning that I should have one closed to sell later, or that they're worth more later. But I think right now you know, most people realize that unless it's years and years old or super brand new, they're not really worth, as far as I know, they're not really worth that much more in package than they are out of package, unless some time has really gone by. But anyways, so it's also nice to have one closed so I can keep it in the background. Or another thing I try and do, and will be able to do easier when I have more space, is for right now, anything that's a new wave, I put that up on my wall. And then anything that's not is either opened or put in storage. So it's kind of nice to have wallpaper of G.I. Joe figures. The other thing I wanted to say is that with army building, I only really got into it when they released the 25th anniversary figures, because they were, you know, cheaper than what vintage things were going for online. And it was one of those things that if I wasn't able to find anything else that I was looking for to make the trip worth it, I wanted to make sure to buy something. So I was always buying Kinsman Guard figures. And then they came out with the 2-pack with the Kinsman Guard 25th anniversary figure that also had some updated changes to it, and also came with a scarred trooper with it as well. So that made army building a little bit easier. And then the other thing that got me into it too is when we found out about the Toys R Us 2 for $9.99 sale, or 2 for $10.99 sale that they were doing to promote the Rise of Cobra figures. And then they also were doing it for, if you spent $30, I believe you got a $10 gift card. So anytime I found vehicles that I needed to get to $30, then I would do that. Or I would find Kinsman Neo Vipers, which I have quite a bit of, to get that 2 for $9.99 or 2 for $10.99 deal, or to get the $10 gift card. So that got me into army building. But right now, because of the connections that are going through my head right now, and the fact that this figure just really looks so cool, just makes me want to get it. If you haven't seen him in person, and maybe even the camera doesn't do it justice, I really thought the neck was going to be too thin and skinny, but in person it really isn't. Maybe without the gas mask on, it's more noticeable, but right now, as it is right here, or even in any bad face paint that might be on it, as long as your trooper looks just like this, I think it really looks great. So you might want to not go out and seek it if that's not something that you really are wanting to do. But if you happen to be in the store and you see this guy, you might want to at least see it in person before you make your decision just off of photographs. I think that's all we really want to share for this part of the video. Kind of a haul video, and kind of just showing off the shock troopers that I have. Right now, to have 8 is pretty cool. I joked that 1 is great, 2 is even better, because then I am able to open, 1. But to have 8 is even better, of course. And then, hopefully that shows that the figures are selling, and Target will keep pushing these, and Hasbro will keep making them, and they will continue to sell around my area and your area. So I possibly will go find 2 or 3 more, maybe later when Wave 4 actually starts hitting, but I'm going to try and be good and stay out of the stores for at least a month, maybe a month and 2 weeks or so, since I have all the figures that I really need right now. I still have to do a lot of videos to get caught up. So I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you are finding all the shock troopers that you need, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many do you think you will probably end up with? Do you have any idea? Do you have any set number of how many shock troopers, if even the 1? Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.